What's up, YouTube? This is Twinkie the Trapinch, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today we're going to be doing a little discussion on the topic of Pokegenning. Now, this is primarily kind of in response to a series of tweets and replies by Verlisify. I in no way mean to disrespect you if you are watching this, but I'm just kind of trying to voice my opinion as somebody who's been on each side of the spectrum, Pokegenning and breeding legitly. So I just thought I'd give my opinion on the whole idea of genning and why people do it and whether or not it's considered cheating. So to understand what this whole argument is about or discussion is about, you first have to understand what Pokegenning is. Now, for the sake of this argument, I'm not considering Pokegenning to be exploiting the game like in X and Y, where you were able to clone Pokemon for a while, exploiting some glitch in the game in the trade system or whatever. I don't consider that genning. That's just exploiting a glitch in the game, like you would in like Red, Blue, and Yellow when you would get that Mew that wasn't even supposed to be in the game by like running up that bridge. But whatever. Pokegenning is basically using some outside device such as an action replay or a power save, or I believe there was a Pokegenning website and a Pokegenning app that you could use to send Pokemon to your your inbox or whatever it would be called on the GTS, and then you would receive that Pokemon. But Pokegenning is basically obtaining a Pokemon not through the game. You basically you create it, and then generally speaking, if you're Pokegenning, you gen it with perfect stats, you gen it with the preferred nature you would like, and you gen it with any egg moves or tutor moves that you would have wanted. Now, this is opposed to actually breeding your Pokemon, which actually does take a lot of time and effort. You have to breed for IVs. Generally doing so, in X and Y, you would have to go to the Friend Safari, get a Pokemon with several IVs, then you would have to breed over and over again with a Destiny Knot to ensure that you would get more IVs passed over to your next Pokemon, and then you would have to have one Pokemon hold an Everstone once it got the right nature, so that nature would keep passing through the offspring. And it takes a very long time. I remember in X and Y, I bred a shiny Hawlucha, and that took 595 eggs, and then I bred a shiny Noivern, and that took over 1,700 eggs. I had to empty my boxes twice, and I just gave up counting because it was just so much. But anyway, that is Pokegenning. Now, some of you guys may be asking yourselves, why would you Pokegen? Because in 6th generation, it has become so much easier to actually legitimately breed all of your Pokemon. Because in X and Y, they included an IV judge who tells you what IVs your Pokemon have, and there is also a hidden power judge who tells you what type of hidden power your Pokemon have, rather than you going out in the field and attacking a bunch of different type Pokemon to discover what hidden power your Pokemon has. But in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, this was made much easier because the IV judge is on the same island as a Pokemon breeder, as well as there being a hidden power judge in another town. But the main reasons why people Pokegen are one of a few. Reason 1, they could just be inherently lazy human beings. I have a friend who's just insanely lazy. He hates leaving his house. I'm sorry if you're hearing this, but you know it's kind of true. You can't deny it. Yeah, but he doesn't ever want to leave his house. He's just an inherently lazy human being, and he doesn't want to have to be bothered with breeding Pokemon. That's one thing. The next reason is legendaries, because a lot of legendaries are just really hard to come by, and to get them with the hidden abilities or shinies or the right nature can be a huge hassle, especially if you want to use them competitively, but Nintendo just hasn't released them yet. Because they released the 4th gen legendaries at the very tail end of 5th gen, like right before X and Y came out. They're like, let's release shiny Sinnoh legendaries. Like, it was a couple months before. Like, there is no way you can get any competitive use out of those Pokemon, especially when in 6th gen official formats you're not allowed to use previous generation Pokemon. You have to use Pokemon that are from Kalos region or from the Hoenn region in the 6th generation. The third reason is for people who YouTube. Because with PokeTubing becoming so popular, people like Shady Penguin and It's Nips and I'm not sure if King Nappy Pokegens, but there are a lot of people who Pokegen now because their YouTube community demands them to have so many different Pokemon being used. To keep their videos like new and fresh, that some people do different teams every week and some people do multiple teams every week, and it's impossible to breed 6 perfect Pokemon every week with different movesets or even slight variations to movesets and EVs. It can become such a hassle for them, and honestly this is what they do for a living, and it'll take so much stress off them. The fourth reason is for time, just general being busy. And honestly, if you can't understand why people do it for this reason, you're not in that, like, that's very inconsiderate of you. Personally, I don't gen anymore. I kind of did in 5th gen, but it wasn't really genning Pokemon. I basically catch or breed a Pokemon, and then I had this action replay cheat that would change their nature, and then I would just EV train it. They didn't have IVs or anything, but I would change their nature, and I would change whether or not they were shiny. So it was like half genning, but still technically genning, I guess. But anyway, I don't gen anymore in 6th generation. I breed all my Pokemon legitimately. But honestly, I cannot breed Pokemon with the frequency I would like to. I'm a freshman in college right now. I am a full-time student. I'm taking 14 credits, and last semester I was taking 17 credits. I work 30 hours a week at a part-time job, and honestly, the amount of work I have to do between my job, between all my schoolwork, homework, projects, all that BS, between my YouTube channel, and between my band, I never have free time. I'm literally home like 2 hours a day, and then I go to sleep. Like, that is my life. I have no free time. And to expect somebody like me to automatically just put all their time aside with all of their prior engagements just to breed Pokemon is kind of inconsiderate. Like, I'm breeding now because it feels a lot more rewarding to be like, oh my god, I finally created this thing. And it, like, just putting so much time into a single Pokemon and having it actually be created is so rewarding. But if you're expecting everybody who's in the same situation as me to be able to do that, it's kind of unreasonable. Because I haven't bred a Pokemon probably in like 4 months, just because I have absolutely no time anymore. And for people who get to play Pokemon on YouTube, like, who are being, like, people who play Pokemon on YouTube full time, you guys are living the dream. You guys don't you probably try and carry on like a part-time job on the side just for extra money, because I know YouTube isn't that reliable as a source of income, but still, you guys are living the dream. You have to play Pokemon as one of your main sources of income. You play it for a living. So you guys are living the dream, and Pokemon is all you guys need to focus on. Just making Pokemon, just making content. So it's completely different for somebody who's on a small channel or somebody who doesn't have a YouTube channel at all and they have just so many prior engagements. If you expect them to gen, I feel like that's really inconsiderate. I know I've said that like 10 times, but I really think it is. And the final reason people Pokegen is because a lot of Pokemon have multiple options. Now, first Pokemon that comes to my mind is Slowbro. Slowbro is an awesome Pokemon. With its ability Regenerator, it becomes very versatile. Slowbro has the option to do Calm Mind, which also works well on its Mega Evolved form. It has the option to just be a general bulky Pokemon to provide support to your team. It can also run Assault Vest very well. And for each of these sets, you'll probably be running different EVs, very different moves, a lot of which require move tutors or different TMs or just level up moves. But they do require different moves, different EVs, different natures, and you have to breed each and every one of those. So some people, instead of breeding 4 different Slowbros that have 4 different uses, they'll gen 4 different Slowbros. So that way they don't have to breed them over and over again. Now you guys may want to know whether or not Pokegenning is cheating at this point in the video. And while there is no definitive answer, because people are always going to argue whether or not it is or isn't cheating, but my personal opinion is I do not think it's cheating whatsoever. Because what is the main mechanic in Pokemon? It's battling. That is basically the entire game. You catch Pokemon in battles, you grind your Pokemon for EXP in battles, and the whole game is battling. You battle your friends online, you battle over Battle Spot, you do tournaments via battling. And honestly, I think if you're playing Pokemon for the story, you're kind of doing it wrong, because I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I think it's kind of like the same thing every generation. Like, they choose a theme for the game, like beauty or ideals or something, and then they have an evil team based around doing something crazy, involving that with some legendary Pokemon that has something to do with that, and then you become champion and save the day. So I don't really play Pokemon for the story. I play for the online mode, and this is the only game where I take the online seriously. But when you gen Pokemon, it doesn't give you an advantage in battle. Yes, you do save some time outside of battle breeding because you don't have to spend hours breeding, but genning gives you absolutely zero advantage in battle. The Pokemon operate the same exact way, and it all boils down to your skill level in battle, really. It gives you no advantage whatsoever in battle. I saw a comparison to Pokegenning being compared to an aimbot in first-person shooters like Call of Duty, and I find that kind of ludicrous, because what does an aimbot do? An aimbot is like a mod you can get. I don't know how it works. I think you get it on like your controller or like hooked up to something. But what an aimbot does is when you aim at your opponent online in a first-person shooter, you automatically aim at your head, and obviously a headshot is a one-shot kill, because you get your brains blown out. Like, you get your brains blown out and you're dead. So headshots are one-shot kills. That gives you an unfair advantage because it gives you the ability to kill much more efficiently. But does Pokegenning do that? It does not. It does the exact same thing as any other Pokemon that you bred legitimately and EV train legitimately. It doesn't operate anyway, and it's not like something that gives you guaranteed one-hit KOs every time you throw out an attack. It's just a Pokemon that was created in a non-traditional way. And personally, I don't think that's cheating. I think that's just saving time, honestly. Because it's much more efficient if you're a YouTuber and you have a 3DS capture card and you battle via your DS using gen Pokemon. I think that's completely fine. And I personally don't gen anymore. I haven't gen once in 6th generation. I bred everything completely legitimately. And I have friends who gen. I don't care about whether their Pokemon are gen or not. It's all a matter of skill. Pokemon is a game of skill when you're talking about battling competitively. Because just because they have gen Pokemon doesn't mean they're going to win. I beat my friends who gen their Pokemon all the time, and they beat me. It's not like there is a clear skew towards whether or not... It's not like there's a skew for winning and genning and then legitimate Pokemon and breeding. Like, there is absolutely no trend in your ability as a trainer and genning. It just means you're saving yourself time because you don't want to breed. There is absolutely no advantage you obtain from genning in terms of battling. You just save time. That's all it is. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. I'd really like to hear some of your guys' feedback on this topic. And if you don't like my opinion and you think I'm a complete idiot, please leave a dislike. I don't mind. It's still feedback, and you're voicing your opinion, honestly. But anyway, if you think I'm a cool cat, check out some of my other videos and leave a follow me on social media. That would be really cool of you. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day.